What's creepier the more you think about it? Hey guys, it's Em. I hope you're enjoying today and that you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to leave any thoughts you have down below. Story 1. A few things come to mind. Most of mine are a bit cerebral, so I'll apologize in advance in that regard. Number 1. If you're not being born, you're heading to the grave. This is absolutely true for everyone. It doesn't matter if it's 5 seconds after birth or 10 decades. You're on the clock. Number 2. There is no proof of a soul, yet every single creature in religion, regardless of distance apart, believes in one form or another. Did our ancestors know something we don't? I'll acknowledge that this isn't super creepy at first, but the more I think about it, the stranger and creepier it gets. Number 3. What makes us, us? On the most basic level, we're not much more than a collection of electrical impulses in our own nervous system. How did we go from a collection of impulses to being a distinct sentient intelligence and a complex personality? Where does sentience come from? Is it genetic? Is there a way to remove sentience? The more I go down this metaphysical rabbit hole, the creepier it gets, personally. Number 4. There are, according to the FBI, at least anywhere between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the US right now. Story 2. Imagine this. You are placed in a circular room with a 30-foot diameter. Across from you is a carbon copy of yourself. You are both at the exact same millisecond in your lives. You are standing equally distant in the room. You are intaking the exact same sensory information as the other, since the room is symmetrical. Here's the question. Could you ever do anything different than your double? Seems like a dumb question at first, but think about it. You'd be perfectly mirrored. If you tried to poke your double, you'd poke each other in the same spot. If you threw your shoe at the other double, so would they. The shoes would logically hit in identical ways and fall in perfectly symmetrical spots. You could run at each other and you'd collide in a perfectly symmetrical way and fall on the floor in exactly the same way. Obviously, the counter-argument to this is theories based in free will and randomness in physics. But assuming the world is a stagnant environment, it would be an amazing thing to witness. Somebody commented, "Ladies and gentlemen, here's your winner." That's a genuinely disturbing thought. Story 3. Time. Think about it. Or better yet, don't. Time is an illusion. 1 hour with a good friend feels like a minute, and 1 minute with your hand to a stove feels like an eternity. Time is a concept of human perception to understand entropy, the heat death that decays all energy and matter in the universe. Entropy is constant and unwilling, but time isn't. 5 to 6 feels like forever. 18 to 25 feels like a blink. If this is what we've collectively set our lives around and we know it's a war against us and our net perception of it, then why do we waste it? Nothing can buy time, but we waste it for others to eat out of fear. $12 an hour isn't worth 1 billion cells, but our biological weakness has been exposed and exploited by our own to subjugate us. We never have enough time, and it's running out. But don't think about that. Just look at more stuff on Reddit and forget about your dread. Life is but a dream, but we will all wake up. Story 4. Based on how we've responded to climate change so far, I'm fairly certain we won't do anything about the impending automation crisis until it's far too late. Some people started to gain too much wealth, which will inevitably make it back to PACs and think tanks writing op-eds. Poverty will get insane. It's difficult to predict which careers will be hit. If you really want to blow your mind, go look into the success with AI lawyers. We have let a few incredibly wealthy people convince a significant amount of our population to ignore scientific consensus about our planet literally becoming less habitable. It will take even less to convince some to ignore something this abstract until their jobs are already gone. Somebody commented, "This scares me to no end." There's already a non-zero chance that we have started a warming feedback loop, where the heat will just cause the release of more greenhouse gases. This could eventually render the Earth as inhabitable as Venus, but most people barely care. Story 5. I know conspiracy theories are kind of ripping the world apart these days, but here's one I find interesting. If you were to Google hotspots for missing campers and hikers, and then Google a map of America's cave systems, the two maps would match up almost perfectly. Some debunkers have postulated that these missing persons were inexperienced and somehow stumbled into these caves and got lost. But wouldn't it be highly improbable that this is the cause of the disappearances in every one of these cases? Surely these caves are visited by experienced cave splunkers, and they would have found evidence of human remains. Story 6. Death. The entire concept of it. The fact that I'm typing this comment now and I'm fully conscious of it, but one day I just won't. Where does my consciousness go? Does it just fade away? If so, that's even creepier. Will I even know that I'm died when I'm dead? Or will I just stop existing? I mean, we've all known the state of being alive for so long that we probably can't imagine not being in that state. And that makes the state of being dead creepy. Story 7. The amount of sperm men make. I guess creepy isn't the right word. Maybe it's just overwhelming. But basically, each one of those suckers would make a completely different person, and there's millions of them each time a guy goes nuts. So like the whole would you go back and kill Hitler as a baby debate doesn't even matter, because he really could go back and just like bump into his dad, alter his day slightly, and now instead of Hitler, you have a completely different human. Story 8. Staying up late in the dark. You don't know who is around. You hear a noise coming from the hallway. For some reason, it sounds like stepping. After a while, you feel like you're being watched. You look out the window, no one was there. Looked in the kitchen, no one was there. You feel a tap on your shoulder, you feel the hands go down. No one's there, but it feels like someone is. Somebody commented, whenever you get that feeling, just say, frick off, Patrick Swayze. Story 9. I remember hearing a while back that some truly blind people, from birth, don't actually just see black, because black is the absence of light and they don't see light at all. They don't see anything. The way it was described was like trying to imagine looking at the back of your head. You just can't. I don't know why, but that always creeps me out the more I think about it. Like literally not having one of your senses. Story 10. Adoption. You literally have to pay for a kid. You are paying for a child, and the younger they are, the more they usually cost. Newborns are more expensive than teens. It's never rubbed me the right way. Somebody commented, being adopted, I can say it's definitely an awkward realization, lol. But the alternative is being stuck as an orphan till 18, then kicked on the street. I'm guessing they use the funds to keep the orphanage or program going. Story 11. The concept of the Umwelt. A particular animal senses the experience of the world as being entirely separate and distinct from human experience. We have 5, plus a few more main senses. But other animals see additional colors of light, sense the Earth's magnetic field, echolocate, etc. We have no idea what that would be like. Somebody commented, in early schooling we're taught the 5 senses, but in reality, we have like over 20 basic senses. Story 12. How modern medicine exists. The amount of people that had to suffer and be given all these different chemicals or drugs is astonishing. Some of it was clearly done without consent and imposed on others. Imagine chemotherapy. Hey, so we're just gonna slowly kill you and hope that the cancer dies first. Chilling. Somebody commented, yup, the Japanese Unit 731 is basically this. Human experiment straight out of the worst horror movie you can imagine. Story 13. How only we will ever truly know our thoughts and feelings, interpretations of the world, visually, emotionally, mentally. No matter how much we try to describe it to someone else or how close you are to another human, it's still just you in so many ways. Somebody commented, additionally, how each of us does not know if others are experiencing anything. We just give each other the benefit of the doubt. Story 14. Human life. On the same day, a young couple in Florida chilling on a sunny beach and laughing about the great times they had in college. Within the exact same state, there's a person out there who's probably chained up by some sicko, being forced to do unspeakable acts, and all they want to do is be with their family again. Our best days can be someone's worst days. Story 15. Police in my country checking dealers' phones who messaged about buying weed and going door to door and knock on people's doors, connected to the phone number in the dealer's phone, and ask if they've been buying weed or if they can smell weed from their apartment to make a bust. Meanwhile, serial killers, gangbangers, and pedophiles are walking around the country unbothered. Story 16. Most dating norms. Playing hard to get, playing games. Online stalking your date to think of the perfect things to say during the date. Saying how you can never survive without them. Making big gestures in public, which forces their reaction to be pleasant. Borderline psychopathic and creepy to me. Someone commented, all those rom-coms don't help. Stalking, pursuing someone after they reject you, etc. Story 17. Mirrors. They're like a portal that you can't tell if it's showing you reality. After all, you can only see yourself in images, videos, and mirrors. We might not look how we see we do. Also, to make that creepier, mirrors can just be portals to parallel universes, and everything that tries to go through gets blocked by its reflection anyway. Story 18. In Wonder Woman 84, Diana's dead boyfriend's consciousness transfers into another guy who doesn't even know what is happening to him. And then Diana sleeps with him while knowing that the guy who's acting as a vessel doesn't know what is happening. So basically, Diana R-word someone and no one in mainstream media actually noticed this. Story 19. I've always found pregnancy creepy. There's literally a baby growing inside a person, and that person must go through a traumatic experience to get it out. Oh, and our entire human race depends on it. Somebody commented, not to mention why we have periods is actually a defensive mechanism evolved specifically to kill off viable embryos. Story 20. You and your body aren't fully connected. Remember that stub toe? Isn't life-threatening and you know it, but your body screams in pain for minutes anyways. Or that cookie or cigarette you don't want. Your body will talk you into breaking a promise you made yourself to stay away from those. Story 21. Advertisements where they pretend the company cares about you or believes everyone deserves the perfect insert product here. Somebody commented, I love the new H&R Block commercial where they say they're on your side. It's their fault that we Americans have to do our taxes and not our government. It's a frickin' business. Story 22. Everything will die. Humanity, animals, the planet, the sun, and everything else. Eventually, the death-to-birth ratio will catch up and more things start to die, and making new things just won't support or last long enough for more of it to repopulate. Story 23. We know more about space than the ocean. Scientists estimate that less than 5% of the Earth's oceans have been explored. In fact, we know more about the dark side of the moon than we do about the depths of the oceans on our own planet. Story 24. The ocean. Who knows what else could be lurking in the deep blue? Perhaps a dormant world-ending creature of doom and peril. Yeah, I'm kinda scared of the ocean. Somebody commented, that's exactly why I love Lovecraftian horror. Story 25. How many people are in bondage and slavery around the world and how miserable they must be that we or even no one knows about. Also, how many people are currently lost at sea just trying to survive? Story 26. The deep, dark abyss of the ocean. Swimming out into the ocean and in the middle of the night by yourself and just staring downwards into the water, not being able to see anything past your feet. Terrifying thought. Story 27. Greater infinities. There are an infinite number of fractions between 0 and 1. There are also an infinite number of fractions between 0 and 2, which is a greater affinity than the one between 0 and 1. Story 28. How much adult films focuses on the barely legal teens, and how much adult films focuses on I love my step-siblings. It's so gross. Heck, just how much sexuality is pushed on children from the moment they can walk. Story 29. Paparazzi. People literally chasing you down and overanalyzing your every move, all while shoving a camera in your face and asking you incredibly inappropriate and personal questions. How did we even let this be normalized? Story 30. My sleep paralysis demon. The level of detail my brain put into it is disturbing to say the least. That or the fact people genuinely believe the earth is flat and Australia doesn't exist. Story 31. Santa. He knows when you're sleeping, awake, if you've been bad or good. He breaks into your house and eats your food in return for gifts he gets his elf slaves to construct. Story 32. In whatever direction you're not looking, there's just a massive group of prop people and stagehands setting up the next shot in the movie that is your life. Somebody commented, I saw one once. Story 33. Our consciousness. What happens when we are able to copy our brain? Will we control him or her? If we won't, then what will happen when we start replicating damaged parts of the brain? Story 34. The ability of popular opinion to affect the world regardless of statistics, fact, or science. People look back at times like the Dark Ages and go, wow, they were just stupid. Story 35. Childbirth. Yes, it's a miracle in creating a life, but it's also another living thing violently exiting your body in a major medical event you have little to no control over. Story 36. What's beyond the boundaries of the universe? Okay, what's beyond that? I wouldn't call myself religious, but contemplations on this is what makes me agnostic. Story 37. The fact that you aren't afraid of the dark, but what's in the dark. Same as you aren't afraid of being alone in the dark, you're afraid of not being alone in the dark. Story 38. Staring at another human being. The longer you stare, the more you realize that at the end, no matter how close this person is to you, there's still another. Story 39. Dying. We all live these lives and work really hard to get somewhere, and all we do is just die. No way out of it, and we have no idea what happens. Story 40. The social construct of society and what is normal or weird. Why is a belly button acceptable to display but not a nipple? Who decided this? Story 41. This is more mind-blowing to me than creepy, but the fact that there are more stars in space than all words or sounds all humans have made. Story 42. Death in the human consciousness. It will happen to everyone, and we know nothing about what the experience will entail for us. Story 43. That there's someone out there that gets abused, R-worded, or killed right now, and we're looking on our phones while smiling about a meme. Story 44. The amount of people that think they matter when our collective species doesn't even account for 0.01% of the Earth's mass. Story 45. That there must be an evolutionary or biological reason for us to be weirded out by stuff that looks like us but is off slightly. Story 46. The amount of people out there who intentionally killed a person or two, which went under the radar and never got caught. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.